Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, my name is Diaz, author of the title concept and producer of the film Beyond Hope. Welcome everyone to this amazing show that will inspire and empower as many people as possible, including myself, trigger shift and change ascension through love, raise levels of awareness, discover new dimensions that represent liberation, shatter what no longer serves us for our best and highest good, the freedom of our heart for our own personal greatness, and awaken in a gentle, loving, creative way as possible. Today, we have Tracy Lee, who is a proclaimed medical intuitive, healer, and a psychic medium dedicated to sharing her gifts with others for the purpose of healing chronic and short-term physical, emotional, and spiritual issues. Healing services provided for any condition from any distance, including people and pets, distance healing services, no-touch massage, nerve repair, orthopedic treatments, pain management, anxiety stress management, viral bacterial treatment, chakra alignment, spiritual cleanse, consultations by phone, text, or Skype, intuitive health scan, intuitive readings, and holistic advice. Tracy Lee has become a very good friend of mine and somebody that I definitely do utilize, and because I do believe in what she does, and I feel she is very gifted. Without further ado, let's welcome my good friend, Tracy. Tracy, welcome.
Hi, Al. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So how you been? What's going on at your end of the world?
My end of the world is going really well. Here in Austin, Texas, in my humble abode, I have been in a subtle or slight state of seclusion this week, working on workshop materials for my upcoming visit to Japan, where I will be going over there doing what I'm coining the Max Wellness 2-day workshop, 1-day full body healings, as well as private sessions for clients who want individual healing. So that's what's on the schedule agenda for me for 2016, and I'm ready to tackle this new year with enthusiasm and a positive outlook on life.
Well, congratulations, and I wish you all the success your heart desires for all of your endeavors.
Thank you, Al, and the same to you, as always.
Thank you. So, PsychicSurgery101. So I'm going to split those two words up so you can tell me what they mean to you. What is psychic to you?
Psychic is the ability to perceive something that you cannot see with the naked eye. That's and I wasn't even expecting that question. That answer just rolled off my tongue. The definition might change again if you ask me tomorrow, but to me, psychic is this gift or ability, I think really that everybody has to some extent. It's seeing with your third eye what you're not seeing with your two regular human eyes that are powered by your optic nerve. It's kind of looking within and using your intuition to see something or to arrive at a conclusion that you can't just see, by looking at the three-dimensional world.
Interesting. Okay, surgery. So when I think of surgery, I think of a doctor or somebody in the medical field. So from your perspective, what is surgery to you?
From my perspective, surgery is in affecting change to the body in a physical sense that manifests eventually in a physical sense, meaning you're going to the body, you're affecting some type of change with the intention of improving a condition that was causing distress or harm. I think that's my best way to define it without looking at a medical journal.
Okay, so psychic surgery, if I understand you correctly, is something that you cannot see with the naked eye that you remove with surgery. Well, somehow you don't see. Well, okay, I want to speak on behalf of the audience. So it's something that you don't see, but you remove. Is that what you're saying with psychic surgery?
Well, it's not necessarily removed, but yes, something you can't see with the naked eye. So it's done via intuition and energy manipulation, and surgery, a change that I'm affecting to the body without physically doing. Well, that's the psychic part, but the surgery part is affecting a change on a condition that was previously causing distress or harm. I think that's what I said.
Okay, I love what you said. You just said affecting change. That's phenomenal. I love that, affecting change. And And as you are aware, and I'm sure that most of our audience members are aware, is that in every moment there's something different. I mean, nothing stays the same. It's always changing. And so I'm going to take it for granted what you do is the affecting change is being on purpose rather than just going on automatic and things just keep repeating itself. So am I correct in that assumption?
Yes. So by affecting change, what I mean is sometimes the energy of the body, it takes a turn for not the worst, but for the wrong direction. And so when I affect change on a person's energy, I'm just kind of redirecting it in the right direction so that it can reattune to the proper frequency, because a lot of my work is based on the attunement of frequencies of the body and of the organs. And so a lot of people hearing this for the first time, they might think, like, what is she talking about? So each organ of the body has a proper frequency that's measured in hertz. For example, the thyroid is, I think, at like 492 hertz. Each organ has a different ideal frequency. And so what happens, sometimes the frequencies, the vibrational frequencies of the organs fall below the optimal level, and this is the precursor to physical illness. So once the frequencies drop, what happens eventually is these changes manifest as physical illnesses, pain, physical distress, and whatnot. And so what I do is I go in and I reattune the bodily frequencies to the correct level, and this eventually manifests as a physical improvement. This is a small aspect of what I do. It's not everything I do, but there's a very large, well, I said small aspect, but it's a large aspect of it, actually. One of many aspects.
So what happens is, let's just say a human being is born perfect and everything's functioning well, and the frequencies that are at the right level, optimal level. And as we go through life experiences, our frequencies they ebb and flow. I mean, obviously, we're having a good time and everything's going well. Our frequencies are probably at an optimal level. When we're not doing so well, our frequencies or our energy or vibration drops. And so I'm assuming that over time, the more it remains at a low level, the more likely that it's going to stay there. Is my assumption correct?
Part of it's correct, but part of it I'd like to amend. The part that you said that we come into this world with perfectly balanced frequencies, part of my practice is that I do believe that we carry some of the frequency imbalances, our energy, because once the vessel that we're in is no longer alive, meaning what people think as dying, our energy changes into a new vessel. I guess people call that reincarnation. And I do believe that we carry some of the imbalances from previous lives into our new life. So people ask sometimes, like, why do little kids, are they born with these problems or cancer? And I believe that a lot of this is carrying over these imbalanced frequencies from previous lifetimes. So yes, while some people come into this world with perfectly balanced frequencies, some people aren't so lucky. But I would agree with the latter part of your statement, which is, yes, as a baby grows up and goes through toddler years and preteen and all this stuff, we go through life events and things happen that make our cause our frequencies to lower. And when this happens, especially like in the latter stages of life, yes, they start to manifest as physical issues. And it almost never fails that we talk about the different types of illnesses and ailments that are associated with the different chakra centers, and almost always, the types of emotional problems that people have are in congruence and in alignment with the types of physical problems that we associate, in my practice with those same types of emotional issues. So,
okay,
long answer.
No, it's good. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. So, and I know we're talking about Psychic Surgery 101, and we're going to do our best to stay in the beginning stages of understanding. But so what is the difference between what you do and, say, somebody that does prana healing or energy work or Reiki or a shaman or, are all you guys the same or different? Or,
no.
What is the difference?
Well, so you just baited right into my wisdom that I love sharing. There's a mantra that I share on my website that has received a lot of positive attention, and I'm going to say it slowly, so I only have to say it once. But it says, "I am not Christian, Buddhist, or Jewish. I'm not a shaman, a pranic healer, a Reiki practitioner. I channel the energy of the most powerful healers in the universe, and am able to do so because unconditional love is the enemy of pain, injustice, and suffering." And so I don't like, and the title of that is "To Label is to Limit." So I don't label myself a shaman or a Reiki practitioner or a pranic healer or any of these things, because those labels, what they do is they limit what you're able to do and the types of entities and spirits you're able to interact with. For example, and there's nothing wrong with Reiki. Like I think Reiki is great. I think pranic healing is great. I think shamanism is a wonderful, beautiful practice. But the problem is that I use a little bit of all of those practices and belief systems. So to label myself one would just really be limiting limiting myself. So good question. I love answering that.
So it sounds to me that the energy or the vehicle or the tool that you use is basically love. Is that what I'm hearing?
Of course I use love, but the problem is that I use so many vehicles and tools. For example, Reiki uses vibrational balancing, vibrational healing, energy work. I do that. Shamanism works with spirit animals and spirit healing entities. I do a lot of that. Also, I heal with extraterrestrial help. I'm connected to the extraterrestrial and multidimensional entities as well. So I tap into a little bit of everything. All of the kind of celestial healers that I deal with have different specialties. So I guess I would say it depends on the issue or the problem that the client is facing, and that would depend which practice that I call upon to help heal them. I've got a very large tool chest.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask a question here, and I know I'm going to go off topic here for a moment. And I'm not just asking you this question, but I'm asking the other practitioners that are out there that use these different modalities. Why not just go directly to source and utilize that energy or that tool rather than going through a go-between?
And source, as some people refer to it as God, I'm a believer in God. Some people call it source energy. That's a good question. And source has the ultimate say and the ultimate, end decision in the ability to put its foot down whenever it wants to. So, for example, like if I'm healing somebody or I'm going through certain modalities and source says it's this person's time to go, well, then it's that person's time to go and there's nothing I can do about it. But here's the thing: I believe that Source wants us, or God, as I like to refer to it, to learn to work for ourselves, to learn to help each other, and to learn to work for each other. And I believe that Source has gifted us with free will. So I believe that it's almost like this training process. So Source doesn't just want to do everything for everybody. It's teaching us to ascend into a higher dimension, to be more self-healing, to be able to serve ourselves and take care of our fellow human beings and other multidimensional beings. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I think that Source doesn't just want us to pray and say, God help us with everything, God do this, God do that. Source is trying to teach us, how to function in this universe and how to ascend to a higher level. So that's my answer to that question.
Okay,
what do you think?
Well, cool. I'm going to remain off topic. So does anybody ever eventually ascend to the point where they work directly with Source?
Wow, that's a great question. I feel, I don't believe that I have the authority to answer, who works with God and who doesn't. I mean, I would say that we all work with God or Source on some issues. I communicate directly with Source many times a day, and I feel that I'm being communicated back. There's sometimes if a situation is grave enough that I might, stick in a little prayer saying, hey, this person might need a little extra help. It would be really awesome if you could put your almighty touch on this one, But I try to learn how to, exist within my gifts and work with the helpers, because I believe that my helpers and my guides are gifts from Source as well. So, he's got a lot of things going on, the big guy upstairs, and I try to bother him as little as possible. There's world peace and, like cities that are going to have earthquakes and natural disasters. So I try to be as self-sufficient as I can, but I always express gratitude, for the ability to do so. But It's touchy stuff when we start talking about God.
So for 40 years, I lived a certain way, and I thought this is how life is, and it felt normal, quote unquote normal to me. I thought this is how it is, and when I turned 40, I became curious to have a greater understanding how humanity coexisted with life or with the universe. So I went through an awakening period. And eventually, I realized that I was blessed with gifts. But for 40 years, I kind of knew in the background that there was something, but I didn't fully accept it. So my question to you is, what you do right now, I'm going to assume that you realized that you were gifted. And so is everybody else. Everybody else is gifted. It's just people are not aware. Is that a correct assumption, or do we have to learn these gifts?
Oh, I absolutely believe that everybody is gifted. Everybody has spiritual gifts or psychic gifts, as people would refer to them. Everything that people are able to do is a gift. So even a rig driver, a big 18-wheeler driver, he's gifted with the ability to drive an 18-wheeler truck without, crashing it off the road. Everybody has, some people are gifted with wonderful people skills, and so, if they're waiters or waitresses for a long time. So just because my gift is more of the spiritual or multidimensional sense, that doesn't mean that it's better or worse, or more important or less important than anybody else's. I believe that we all have a choice in life when we come into this world. So, we have a choice what we want to do with our time, what we want to do with our career, how we want to spend our hours while we're awake. And I really believe that if you set your mind to it, you can accomplish whatever it is that you really want. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction and the ability to manifest your own dreams. So that's kind of my answer to that one.
Okay. Let's go back to the topic. So can anybody perform psychic energy on themselves, or do we need to go to somebody like yourself?
Both. So, yes, anybody can learn to perform psychic surgery on themselves, and anybody can learn to heal themselves. The problem is that the strength of the work and the detailed accuracy and precision of the work takes practice. So if you're faced with a situation where you feel that you need a psychic surgeon, or the doctors don't know what's going on, and or you don't have health insurance, I deal with all types of cases. Yes, it's good to contact a professional and talk to them, as opposed to just trying to learn to heal yourself. And then maybe after the professional has helped you and you've healed, then maybe you want to look into reading or trying to figure out how to heal yourself, so that when the next time something like that happens, you don't have to go calling on somebody. But I truly do believe in each person's ability to heal themselves. Absolutely, Al.
Awesome. So a person that's never gone to a psychic, or never gone to, I'm going to call you a healer. So a person that's never gone to a healer and is very skeptical, doubtful, too woo-woo, but you know what? For whatever reason, he or she wants to find a healer. How does a person find the right healer for them?
Great question, and I just released a YouTube video on how to choose a healer in the last week, and I think that there are 5 very important considerations to take under. And the first of which being is you should always, number one, and this is for a doctor, for friends, for mates, for a healer, for anything, follow your gut instinct. When you look at this person's picture, do you feel this is the person who's going to help me, this is the person who's going to get me better? Or do you look at this person and do you think, oh, something's not right, something feels off? Usually if something feels off, that's a sign that it might not be the right person for you. It's not necessarily a sign that they're a fraud or that they're a bad person or that that they're not good at what they do, but maybe it's a sign that it's not a good fit for you. So step number one, I would say, is to just make a connection with somebody, at least verbally, and not verbally, visually, and see, how does your gut feel when you look at this person's picture. I would say step number 2 is verifiable testimonials. And when I say verifiable, I mean, Al, look, I can write a testimonial that I resurrected 17 cats and cured, 317 cases of stage 5 cancer. But that doesn't mean that it happened. My Facebook page. I let my clients go on there and write, with their Facebook accounts, how was their experience with Tracy. So that way, if somebody wants to know what is Tracy Lee all about, you can go on my Facebook page. You can click on the name of somebody who's written a testimonial about me. You can send that person a message saying, hey, I see that you've worked with Tracy Lee. How was that experience? And that's what I mean by verifiable. Do not send your money to somebody unless you've at least spoken with one of their clients and talked about what that experience was like working with that person. Did they have good results? Was the person attentive? And all of these types of important questions. May I keep going, or do you have any questions so far?
No, keep going.
Okay, yeah. So number 3 is do not send money via Western Union. So you see some of these things online where, people want you to send money Western Union. A professional will have an online store of some kind or a PayPal or some way that you can pay with a credit card. So usually credit card transactions are insured. I know PayPal's insured. I know I've got insurance through my Shopify store online. So you want to look for somebody with a professional business setup, not just exchanging cash or Western Union, no way to track your money, these types of things. Number 4, and this is an important one, Al. Number 4, send a test email or a test phone call to this person. See how responsive they are. I know in the case of when people contact me, I always email back within 24 hours. And if somebody takes the time to leave a message on my machine, I take the time to call them back and say, hey, thank you for calling. I am a busy person. You can schedule a consultation, but I'll usually take the time to answer 1 or 2 brief questions. Responsiveness is very, very important when you're hiring a healer or a medium. Very, very important, because if you're working with someone and you're sick and you send them money and they're doing this treatment on you, what if there's an emergency you need to get hold of them? You want to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who is responsible and responsiveness and attentive to their clients. And then number 5, and I like bookends, like number 1 and 5 are my favorite ones. So number 1 is follow your gut instinct. Now number 5, and this is my other bookend, is never, ever, 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 ever believe anybody who tells you that their practices are 100% guaranteed. Nothing in life is 100% guaranteed. Chemotherapy is not 100% guaranteed. Antibiotics are not 100% guaranteed. In many cases, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to wake up alive tomorrow morning, much less work with an energy healer who's going to guarantee that you're going to be better in so many sessions. Now, they should be able to give you an estimate, and you can talk about expected results, but results vary for everything in this life, and anybody who's going to guarantee something, that's a sales tactic, and I would be very wary of that. So there's my 5 pointers. Take them for what you will, but based on experience. Awesome. And also based on hearing war stories of clients working with past healers.
I've been introduced to amazing people from around the world as I traveled and spoke on stage and been in different countries, and I've been blown away by what some different people can do, including yourself. So, somebody that's new to all this, how can you figure out what modality to choose from? Obviously, you're different. I mean, I think you're the first one I've ever met that uses all-encompassing tools. Versus, the amazing people that I've met throughout the world, they use a specific or a couple of tools, and they're different, than what you do. So how does a person pick what modality? They feel good about, let's say they feel good about 3 different people that have 3 different modalities, and the intuition says, hey, all 3 would help you, but they have 3 different practices. How do you figure out which modality to use?
Well, that's a very difficult decision sometimes. I can give a couple of brief pointers. The first thing I would say is that if your problem or your issue would require surgery in the 3-dimensional sense, being the removal of a cancerous tumor or open heart surgery, any of these types of issues, if your issue in a 3-dimensional world would require a surgeon to cut you open and use anesthetics, then you definitely want to look for somebody who labels or who's familiar with psychic surgery. And so, psychic surgery might cross might go across, Reiki, shamanism, pranic healing, but you definitely want to look for the word psychic surgeon because, surgery on a physical sense, surgery on an energetic sense. Reiki, I believe works for a lot of emotional issues as well as physical issues. I think Reiki is really great for people who are experiencing chronic pain, emotional pain, or physical pain. Like if you've had a surgery and you just can't get rid of the inflammation, or you don't know why your knee hurts, these types of things. I think Reiki can be very helpful for like pain types of issues. I believe that shamanism is really great for addressing issues that are unexplainable, like people who have gone to a doctor and they don't know what's wrong with them, but they can't digest properly. They have nausea. They have recurring headaches, just weird, inexplicable phenomenon that nobody can quite put their finger on. I think a lot of times shamanism works really well because it deals with, spirit animals and entity possessions and whatnot. And a lot of times these are kind of invisible remedies to these types of solutions. And then, your quantum touch healing, your pranic healing, go on those websites and read how you feel about what those people are saying. I think they kind of incorporate a little bit of both. I'm not as familiar with pranic healing. I'm familiar with quantum touch healing, and it has a lot of similarities to Reiki and a few differences, but it's also energetic in sense. There's also a practice called theta healing, and the lady who's created those practices, my practices are in alignment. It's kind of funny because I'm Zeta line healing. A lot of my beliefs and practices are very congruent and aligned with the theta healing practices. And theta healing talks about different organs of the body, as I was talking about earlier, their frequencies, and what are the emotional issues behind these different imbalances or frequency imbalances. So it kind of puts a link between the emotional issues and the physical issues. So again, if you're not quite sure what's causing something and you want to look for an alternative, I think that, like a certified theta healer would be a good place to start as well. Or you can find an anomaly like myself who just likes to do a little bit of everything.
Now, does it have to be a specific symptom that you work with, or can you work with somebody like their overall general well-being?
That's a wonderful question, because I believe that you can definitely work with overall general well-being. So for people who are feeling lethargic, they don't have a lot of extra energy, they find themselves napping, or they're not motivated, or they're just not in a good mood. General energy balances can work very well for these people. Just overall cleansing, clearing sessions. I believe these types of treatments, usually between 1 and 3 treatments, can make a big difference for people who just don't feel right.
Phenomenal. Any final thoughts or comments for our audience?
Well, if you're interested in anything that I've said, feel free to contact me. I'm Tracy Lee at Zeta Line Healing. That's ZETALINE, Zeta like the Greek letter Zeta, LINE Healing at gmail.com or ZetaLineHealing.com, Facebook.com/Zeta Line Healing. I'm also on Twitter at Zeta Line Healing, Skype also. So if you feel like getting a hold of me or have any questions about my services or how I can help you, shoot me an email. Like I said, I promise I'll get back to you in 24 hours.
Well, thank you for the announcement, but do you have any thoughts or comments for our audience? Final thoughts.
Final thought, follow your gut instinct. If you feel like something's wrong, something usually is wrong. If you feel like you trust somebody, or if you feel like something's off, like I said, follow your gut. And that's the best. Everybody's a little bit psychic, and we can all learn to heal ourselves. So really healing is about healing the earth, not just providing a product or service. It's all about us being there as human beings for one another, and lessening the overall or the gross amount of pain and suffering on a global sense, not just on the individual.
Absolutely, and I firmly believe that we are all here to heal ourselves and heal each other, to go back to our authentic selves and our authentic energy. We accept, either consciously or unconsciously, we accept a lot of life experiences as real and truth, when in reality it's not necessary. So for the audience, I wish you all the best. And thank you all for joining us. And remember that everything in our past, present, and future is for our best and highest good. Wherever you are at, have a great day or a wonderful evening. Tracy, I greatly appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your thoughts and your healing. Thank you for being a joyous blessing in our life.
Thank you so much, Al.
Take care.
Same to everybody.